Hey, folks. I'm Charles Maxwood. You might know me from Ruby Rogues or JavaScript Jabber, or maybe you've seen my name on the internet somewhere. And yeah, anyway, I've been thinking a little bit about today's climate, and it's been a crazy year already in 2021. But I've just been thinking about this for a while. I actually ran across an article that made me think about some of this stuff, and I just wanted to talk about it briefly because I feel like we're missing out on something in the programming community, and it's something that we used to have. So when I got into programming, like seriously into programming, it was what 2005, 2006, I think. And when I came in, it was this crazy place. I mean, there was so much going on. I mean, I joined the Ruby on Rails community kind of when Ruby on Rails was still growing up a little bit. It had kind of hit its stride, but it was still, taking off, right? And we've seen the same thing with Node.js and, Python's kind of had a resurgence lately with things like data science and machine learning and stuff like that, right? And so we see these areas of growth, and in those areas of growth, we tend to want to bring as many people in as possible, right? Because we're our employers need more people, right? And so we want to bring people in. But the other thing is that it's an exciting place to be and we want to share it with everybody. But at the same time, I'm also seeing a whole bunch of people out there basically going on the attack against people. And it really makes me worry a little bit. Um and I've experienced some of this. Some of you may have seen some of that on the internet from a year or so ago. But lately I ran across an article where Bob Martin, Uncle Bob Martin, was supposed to speak at a conference. I think it was a virtual conference because of COVID-19. But some of the other speakers actually got up and said that they wouldn't speak if he was speaking at the conference. And the reason wasn't because he gets up and says insane stuff at conferences. It wasn't even because he's abusive in the way that he approaches the community. It was primarily because they didn't like his political point of views. And, in my situation as well, where I went and tried to stand up for a friend of mine who I felt was being treated unfairly. And then I was essentially told I had to cut ties with another friend of mine who had done the same thing, albeit in a more aggressive way. And I didn't condone what he did, but I definitely understood where he was coming from. I essentially had people cutting ties with me, not because of anything I did, but because of something somebody else I know did, right? And I've had people cut ties with me because of Uncle Bob. And I really just I see this happening to other people too, right? If it's just me, right? If I'm the only one, then I'll just suck it up. I'm a big boy. People still listen to the podcast. People still appreciate what we're putting out there at devchat.tv. And I can just live with it, right? I'll just deal. And the people that want my stuff can come join what we're doing. And the people that don't can go find something else. And that's the way the internet works, right? Is, oh, well, what Chuck does bothers me. Okay, well, then turn Chuck off, right? Pull out your phone, unsubscribe to the podcast. No big deal, right? But the concern I have is that it has this effect on the community, right? Where it's not just me, it's not just Bob, it's not just anybody else who goes through this. My concern is mostly for the other people in the community. And this kind of came to light with a family situation that I've been dealing with where one family member basically aggressively accused my wife of something, actually. And my wife took it personally. And I'm not saying she was wrong to, but the way that I've been thinking about how to deal with this, I realized that dragging the rest of the family in doesn't make any sense, right? Because essentially then I'm forcing them to pick sides. And I don't want to do that in the programming community either, right? We all benefit from being around each other. We all benefit from spending time working on open source that makes our lives better. We all benefit from having podcasts out there that talk about the topics that we need to know to do our jobs or to move up in our careers, right? we all benefit from the ideas that are being put forward by some of these thought leaders, regardless of their political affiliation, that will help move the community forward as a whole. And I'm deeply concerned that we are going out of our way to remove people from the community, or to, how do I put it? Essentially to destroy people's careers because we don't like what they tweet politically. And my feeling has always been, if I don't like what you're tweeting, and I've done this before, right? I just stop following you, right? Or I'll mute you. And it's not personal. It's not because I hate you, but I want my Twitter feed to be a specific thing. I want it to be positive. I want it to be a happy place where I can go and I can find new stuff to explore, right? That's why I listen to certain podcasts, and when they fail to deliver that, I unsubscribe, right? Or if they're too in my face about things that I don't really care what their opinion is on, then I'll quit, right? I've had a couple of podcasts where I've actually quit because they've gotten too political, both pro-Republican Trump and anti-Republican Trump, right? And it's because, well, hey, you're a tech show. I don't care about your opinion about politics, right? Or you're a business show and I don't care about your particular brand of politics, right? What I care about is the value that you bring to me and the value that I can bring to you. And that's what a community is all about, right? And sure, a lot of people, if you're putting out a medium like a podcast, are going to benefit more intellectually, right, than the people putting it out necessarily, right? Because a lot more people, and so therefore it creates more value, are consuming it, where I may derive some value from the relationships I build, or the sponsorship money I bring in, or things like that. But at the same time, I'm growing and learning, and I'm happy with what I'm getting, and you're growing and learning, so you're happy with what you're getting. But this censorship, it's got to end. I mean, it just doesn't get us anywhere when we're out there trying to kick people out of the community for things that have nothing to do with what they actually bring to the community, right? Now, if somebody comes into the community and they're routinely abusive, then yeah, it's like, look, the net is negative for you, right? And we don't need that here. And that makes sense, right? But if they're out there expressing a view that you don't like, and then you don't want to hear them speak at a conference because their political views don't align with you, I really don't understand why we have to kick them out of the community. And if it really does bother you, then don't be in the room when they speak, right? And I think the community has settled on some guidelines that generally make sense, right? So if they do cross the line into that abusive behavior, if they do cross the line into that, demeaning behavior, if they're talking poorly about a particular group of people, then yeah, we step up and we go, sorry, we don't want that here, right? And that's why we see these codes of conduct at the conferences. But at the same time, we've seen conferences actually enforce the codes of conduct, myself included. I've been the victim of this, right? And realistically, there's nothing that I actually did that crossed the line in my case, right? And I've seen this happen to other people, right? They didn't cross the line. They weren't abusive. They didn't treat anybody poorly, but they specifically experienced this because of some bias that existed out there, right? Or some public outcry that, at the end of the day, didn't necessarily merit them being ejected from a conference. And I'm not really sure what to do with this, right? I've thought a lot about, okay, well, do we form a community where we just say, look, abusive behavior, both from people who are going to cancel other people and from people who are going to perpetrate this in the first place, is not okay, right? But I feel like we as a community can do that, right? But we've got to be even-handed and enforce it against both sides. And I'm not necessarily even comfortable being the judge or arbiter of that, right? Okay, you're out of line, but you're not, right? I don't know. And to be honest, I think a lot of us are just trying to do the best we can and don't really want to rock the boat. So I understand where a lot of people are at with a lot of this stuff, right? And I freely acknowledge that a lot of it isn't fair, one way or the other, right? Some people are they're gonna experience stuff that sucks coming into this community, and other people are gonna be opened in with welcome arms, right? And sometimes it has to do with race or gender, and sometimes it doesn't, right? And some people who we think would experience it won't, and others that we think wouldn't experience will. And so when I look at all of this as a sum total, what I really want to see is I just want to see us all hold each other up, right? I want to see us take the opportunity to help other people grow, help other people mature, help other people, um, you know, do better in their communities and do better at work and do better, you know, personally, right? Because our careers affect everything else that we do, right? I mean, I go to work and that means my kids get to eat. We have gas in the car, all that stuff, right? It means that I can take trips with my family, under certain circumstances. Or, I can build the lifestyle I want. So it affects all these other things. And so why aren't we looking to help everybody else and thereby also ourselves? Because I found that that's probably the best way to actually get what you want is to help a whole bunch of other people get what they want, right? And so why aren't we looking for those opportunities, right? So instead of looking for a thing to be offended by, why aren't we actually looking for, oh, that person could use a little bit of help, right? Just a little bit of lift, right? So we can get underneath them and we can just kind of help them get their fingers a little bit further onto that ledge so that they can pull themselves up so they can get what they need, get what they want, right? And then hopefully the community will be such that when I need that or you need that, right? Then I feel that lift, right? I feel that push to do better, to level up, to grab that ledge and pull myself up, right? But I've got to be pulling too, right? I've got to be working for that too, or it doesn't work. So at the end of the day, I guess what I'm really asking people for and trying to get across here is, first of all, let's set aside all of the stuff that doesn't impact our community one way or the other, right? So let's leave the politics out of it, right? Let's leave all of the other social anxiety out of it, right? I mean, if somebody crosses the line and they're talking badly about a specific race or ethnicity or culture or things like that, then yeah, we can say, hey, look, we don't need that here. Go take that somewhere else, right? But if folks are actually in the community and while they're participating in the community, they're not bringing any of this around, then let's welcome them in. And if they're out on Twitter and they're tweeting about all of the other aspects of living in America that exist, or all the aspects of living in whatever country you live in, wherever, right? And you don't want to hear it, just unfollow them, right? Mute them, turn it off. And then let's go and create the community that we want, right? Let's go create the community where there's lift, where we push each other forward and call out the stuff that doesn't push us forward, right? But the world community and our development communities are not the same. And so at the end of the day, what I want to do is I want us to stay focused on the things that matter to the development culture and community within the development culture and community. And then if you want to go get involved with something that other people are just going to find completely reprehensible in your own time, go for it, right? I don't have to police the rest of your life. I don't want to. I don't even want to police the dev community. But if that's what it takes in order to create this sense of collaboration and growth, then I'm happy to step up and at least try and help, right? And again, I don't think I'm going to be perfect at it. I don't think anybody's going to be perfect at it. But if we can come together with this shared vision of, hey, look, the development community should be the most open and welcoming community anywhere, right? And we see that there's so much potential both with the technologies that we're working in, growing, and creating, as well as the people that we bring in. And we can go work toward that and work toward building that up. Just imagine how awesome this would be, right? And, there there are so many people out there doing so much good in the community, right? They see a group of people that they feel like has been underrepresented in our community, and they go help them, right? And other people, they just go out and it's like anybody I see that needs help, and I'll help them, right? And that's the kind of spirit we need is I see a need and I'm going to go fill it, right? I see people who need help moving to the next place, and so I'm going to go help them. And that's what I want, right? That's what we're ultimately trying to build. That's what I wanted to build at devchat.tv, right? I wanted to build podcasts that push people forward, right? I don't want to be out there fighting over the social issues that we don't agree on. I want to be out there arguing for the people that need our help to pull them up, right? And at the same time, I want to put content out there that helps everybody go, okay, now that I understand this, I'm now at a better place. I'm now at a higher level. And that may be an inch or a centimeter higher is all. But if we can incrementally move people up even that much on a regular basis, the whole community benefits from it. And we should be making that our focus, right? We should be making that the focus of everything that we're doing. And then we can talk about, okay, well, what else do we envision this community being, right? What else do we envision building into the technology culture? What else do we envision that's going to be have a positive impact on people, right? And isn't a reason for us just to kick people out because we don't like their views or we don't like their ideas, right? Because everybody has a little bit different background, right? I mean, even people who grew up where I grew up that are in the programming community the same way I am, right? That have a lot in common with me. We still see things differently, right? They've experienced different things than I have. Their parents disciplined them different from me, right? And then there are people that grew up in another country with wildly different cultural norms and things like that, right? And so we need their ideas too, right? Because they're going to look at a problem, they're going to see something completely different. And maybe their solution is the one that we need. But we need to be able to create this community where everybody's welcome. So that's what I'm going to be working on. That's my focus here. And if you want to be a part of it, let me know. If you think I'm nuts, you can let me know that too. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I mean, that's what this community should be. This community should be the place where people see opportunity and then they come and everybody helps them take advantage of the opportunity. And if you're not doing that, if you're actively tearing people down or making people feel unwelcome, then maybe it's you that doesn't belong here. Anyway, I've pretty much said my piece. I mean, this is the trend I'm seeing concerns me, but primarily what I want to do is I want to give you the vision of what this community could be, because it really could be, right? And we just need to focus on those things and help bring people in and bring people up. Right. The other thing is that I found is that in a lot of cases, if you are focused on these kinds of things, then what happens is that the people who are coming in to tear things down, after they gain no traction whatsoever in our community, they'll leave on their own. Right. So we just need to be the kind of people that we need to be. And if we can do that, then we can make all the difference for the programming community. Anyway, I'm done. So I'm going to max out. And I'll see you all on JavaScript Jabber, Ruby Rogues, or any of the other podcasts that we have at devchat.tv.